That breaking news this morning, you are taking a live look at the scene of a fire in the Midtown area. Fire crews are called to 40th and Izzard before 6:30 this morning. We're told this is a vacant home so far. No injuries or transports to the hospital to share. We'll make sure to have more details as soon as we get them. In the meantime, it's good to have you with us as we start this Wednesday morning. I'm Erin Hartley.
I'm Cerise Cole, Jared Lansford, of course, Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord. And we're talking wind chills this morning. We're off to a pretty cool start.
Yeah, not a ton of wind out there, but it's cold. We're in the 20s, so any breath of wind is going to factor in. And the wind is out of the north, so that house fire at 40th and Izzard, if you're anywhere south of that, you may really smell some smoke out there this morning as that north wind sends it south across the city. Feels like temperatures with that wind are in the teens for the most part. 17 in Omaha, 14 in Fremont, but a couple of single digits showing up. Columbus and York both down to 8 right now, where the temperatures are a little bit colder. Now you can see how it's cooled off Tacoma, Fremont, Columbus, York. Likely a little sliver of some clearing right here, and that's allowed the temperature to drop. So we'll watch to see if maybe that causes us to lose a few more degrees in the metro. But there's that north wind or north-northwest wind at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Not all that strong today, and it will weaken as we go through the day. So the wind gusts up near 15 miles per hour or so this morning are less of a factor this afternoon. But notice overnight, south winds pick back up, and that's going to set the stage for Thursday. And you will see those gusts get up near 25 miles per hour or so overnight tonight, heading into the early part of the day tomorrow. Let's talk a little bit about those winds as we head into the day tomorrow. So it's a south wind to start. But notice by about noon on Thursday, everybody's got a northwest wind. You can see the leading edge of those northwest winds right here. And we're already gusting about 30 miles per hour around Norfolk. Then by 3, 4 o'clock, you'll notice some gusts, 30 to 40, even 45 miles per hour around Norfolk. The question is right at the beginning, how much of those 40 mile per hour plus wind gusts, how far southeast can they get during the afternoon? If they don't make it there in the afternoon, some models hint at maybe a little secondary push of some wind with a secondary front here after about 7 o'clock on Thursday with gusts 40 to 45 miles per hour. Now that's noteworthy. By then we will be cooling down and doing so in a big way. So that's going to give quite a bite to that air, and you can see by 8 o'clock towards 9 and eventually 10, we're still talking 35 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts. So you will see 53 in the forecast for tomorrow. It is not a highly enjoyable 53, and it happens a little earlier than typical. Normally our high is about 3, 4 o'clock this time of year, lining up with you getting the kids from school or them walking home. By 4 o'clock, we're already going to be near 40 and crashing with that northwest wind. So you can see 50 to 55 for the high in that noon to 2 o'clock window. Early in the afternoon tomorrow, and then the colder air starts to pour in, and you can see what it does. By Friday, we cut that in half, 26 for the afternoon high.
Wow.
And yeah, that's going to be brisk. You're going to feel that, and I think the wind's going to have a pretty good bite to it tomorrow.
I feel it already.
I know.
Sorry.
No, for this weekend. I mean, it could be a big shopping weekend for folks who maybe are a little delayed. I don't know. No judgment here. But it could be cold, especially if you're going to go like Village Point or something, an outside mall.
The outdoor mall. So if you're thinking of Friday, that's easily the coldest day I have in the 10-day forecast.
Okay. Yeah.
So that may not be the most enjoyable. The wind should back off during the day on Friday, but it does get a little bit better Saturday and Sunday. So if you're looking for a day to go do a little shopping, 32 on Saturday with some partly cloudy skies. Technically the first day of winter. We've had plenty of it so far. 41 for the high on Sunday. Looks like the best day. A south wind will be trying to drag in some warmer air. Wouldn't be surprised if that trend's a little bit warmer. We'll see how it goes, but you can notice the warming trend after that cold day on Friday. There's nothing anything colder than that. Maybe you can take off a Monday or a Tuesday and get some shopping done. Don't forget, Tuesday's Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, 47. A couple of these days trying to sneak up near 50. Jarrett and I were talking, just no one day that sticks out yet that we can put a 50-degree marker on yet. And, well, there's no big storm system. I'm going to save this for a little bit here because this is what we'll talk about. Is there anything that's going to get in the way of your holiday travel here over the course of the next week? Because we're 1 week out, and we'll talk about that here coming up in a bit.
That's a little tease.
Just a little bit.
It's called a tease.
That's how we do it.
Yes. All right, you've got your eye on a crash in Platteview. It could be near one of the schools in town.
Yeah, if you're heading toward Platteview Senior High, this is not too far away from there. So you need to start thinking about that if you're maybe about to head out the door. Maybe you got us queued up with the audio as you're in your process of getting around there. It's as you head westbound near 84th where you get that crash, and things are stacking up a fair bit. Platteview Senior High is a little bit off the screen right about here or so, right about there. So as you're heading westbound through that area, you want to make sure you're ready for some possible delays and maybe getting directed to another traffic flow there with that crash being in place there. It's not the only crash we have either, unfortunately. You can see things really struggling as you get north of Harrison on 42nd. This is a crash that happened at the intersection with Drexel. It's about 2 blocks north of Harrison there. So watch that area. I know a lot of people use that as a north-south route, especially with that closure that's been in place there on 48th. So that's another one where you may run into issues. Maybe 36th is your route to get north-south if you don't want to deal with that. Of course, we just talked about that fire that's in place near 40th and Izzard. You can see that in the area there's some slowing that is happening, maybe some redirection with some of the fire crews that are on the scene. So watch for that as you head through that part of the metro. Elsewhere, it's mostly just our more typical slowdowns that we see about this point in the morning. You've got the JFK struggling as you go to I-80 westbound. What's new there? That's something that we see about every morning. And you can see some of the specks of yellow that are showing up, indicating that increasing traffic flow that we are seeing as you're making your way out and about through much of the metro, though no particular standout on roads such as Dodge at this point. So we'll keep an eye on that, and as we continue through the morning, we'll keep you posted with any updates with certainly that crash that's at Platteview and 84th and some of the other spots that we were looking at this morning.
All right, Jarrett, thank you.
All right, First Alert 6 continues to press local officials about medical marijuana. OPD and the city prosecutor's office tell us they still have not been given any guidance on what to do if they do come across somebody with the drug. Now, a couple of things to remember. There are no legal ways to acquire marijuana in the state, and it is still illegal to bring it in from another state.
Well, Mayor Stothert is sharing her thoughts on the city's preparation and response to last Friday's ice storm. Those conditions led to more than 500 911 calls for crashes. State Senator Mike McDonald is running for mayor against Stothert, and he's criticized the city's response, calling it disastrous. The mayor says the city was as prepared as they could be.
Our goal in an ice storm or a snowstorm is to keep people safe. And, you know, the thing that I would want my first responders and police officers to say is, yes, it's slick out there and it's dangerous out there and we are sliding, we are getting in accidents, but by golly, if you need us, we're going to do our best to get there and to help you out.
And she added the city spends more than $11 million on snow and ice removal.
Oh, the last of the defendants involved in the Omaha public corruption scandal learned his fate in court. A federal judge sentenced Jack Olson to 33 months in federal prison for wire fraud and for tax evasion. He is getting credit for 20 months already served. Olson was the fundraiser for the Omaha Latino Peace Officers Association. He also has to pay $136,000 in restitution. The 3 other defendants tied to the case are all out of federal prison. All right, we're over now at the safety desk with Maria Cade. Maria, we hear it all the time. Get those steps in. We're learning now it's really important.
I know it can impact your physical health, of course, but there's a new study that's coming out that's showing how it can impact your mental health as well, which of course is just as important. So according to a new study, the number of steps you take every single day could lead to a decrease in depression symptoms if you are suffering. Now, this was published in the journal JAMA Network Open. It found a higher daily step count could be associated with fewer depressive symptoms. Now, the researchers say even just 1,000 more steps a day could reduce that risk of suffering from depression. So really, in the grand scheme of things, 1,000 steps, it's not a lot. But if you take that time to do it, it can really help you. The study's lead author says it is more evidence that they say that being active is an effective strategy, of course, for your health, mentally and physically, regardless of how intense or what type of activity it is.
The more over the years that I've read about walking, the best exercise, I think it's got to be.
Yep, and it's the easiest thing you can do.
It's pretty easy for most people. Okay, in the meantime, we all love maybe a glass of wine. Some people I know have it pretty often. Some people have it every once in a while. But the new research is pretty interesting about this.
I know, there is some new research coming out that's showing that a small amount of wine can actually improve your heart health, which is something that I didn't realize. I don't know if most of you realize either. But health experts are actually divided on how much that amount should be. Some are even wondering if you should be drinking at all because of some of the negative effects that alcohol can have on your body. Now, this study looked at a group of people over the age of 60 who are at risk for heart disease. They found that drinking a half to 1 glass of wine every day, it cut the risk of a heart attack or a stroke by 50% in half. That was a significant number to me. I would have never thought that. And that's compared to people who drank no wine. But that benefit is lost, they say, if you drank more than the 1 glass of wine a day. Now, some doctors and health critics say the study does not take into account some of the harmful effects of alcohol, including wine. Many experts add that many people don't accurately measure their wine pouring, and that could have something to do with it. The guidelines show that a true portion of wine is actually just 4 ounces, but, if you are drinking, you might be pouring a little bit more than that.
I know a lot of people will take that headline and just say, okay, sounds
There
good.
you go. But you got to be mindful about what those portions are.
Always. All right, Maria, thank you. All right, we're back after this.
All right, welcome back, everybody. All week long, we've been talking about the roller coaster ride, weather ride we're on. Well, now we're going down.
Today's the coldest we've had so far.
Yeah.
But it's not the coldest day of the week yet. So keep that in mind. We got a lot of, this is probably the wildest ride we're going to take here between between Wednesday, Thursday into Friday. So let's talk about it, show you what you can expect. Temperatures are in the 20s right now, 28 in Omaha. I'd say winter coat, warm hat today. The numbers aren't going to move much, folks. 28 right now. They may shift a little bit, but it feels like numbers are in the teens out the door this morning. Winds are fairly light, 5 to 15 miles per hour, but when temperatures are in the teens, or when temperatures are in the 20, wind chills will be in the teens with numbers like that. Winds a little bit noticeable this morning, back off this afternoon. That's the dip you see here. And then they pick up again overnight out of the south, likely gusting near 25 miles per hour. Let me show you what that does during the day today heading into tomorrow. Now, we have clouds around as well this morning, a few breaks, gradually seeing more and more sunshine as we go through the morning. That was from about 7 o'clock to noon. You can see all the clouds fizzled out, and we're in the low 30s by then. Then in the afternoon, mid 30s. That's it. Best we can do today. Coldest of the week. so far. Got some colder air yet to roll in. By 5 o'clock, we're down to 31. Overnight tonight, pretty quiet. You'll notice some more clouds move in from the northwest. The south wind will pick up as we go through the overnight hours, and a pretty quiet start to the day. A little bit breezy. Temperatures right around 30 tomorrow morning, and then a weird warm day. You're seeing 53 in the forecast, thinking this looks phenomenal. Early in the afternoon is when we get that 53. Notice I have it about 2 o'clock, could be a little bit earlier, and then by the time you head home, it's already starting to crash down through the 40s and into the 30s with that northwest wind picking up and just howling. Let me show you those gusts. Here's what I'm looking at for Thursday. They start to pick up after lunch, gusts up near 30 miles per hour. Notice by 4 to 5 o'clock. There you go, gust to 45 miles per hour. That'll really be noticeable right as you're heading home. Be mindful if you got to make a stop or two. Hold on to the car door tomorrow evening. It could ding the neighbor next to you. Things might be blowing around a little bit. And then we'll take half the warmth on Thursday, put it on Friday, go 26 there, 32 on Saturday. A decent warming trend like we talked about earlier over this weekend. Busy shopping weekend. Likely can't get any packages ordered online for the most part and get them here. But if you need to run to a store or two to get a few things, family rolling in, it's going to be a little bit chilly at times, but getting better.
And that lead up to Christmas, I think a lot warmer than a lot of people were expecting.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's looked mild for a little while, and it continues to look better and kind of steady. The ups and downs that we've had this week, that's not the case next week. It'll be pretty steady, numbers in the 40s. Question is, can we get to 50 once or twice? No one day sticks out just yet as being warmer than any others, but wouldn't be surprised by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Christmas Day, and after to get a couple of days up in the 50s. Now, if you have any travel plans over the course of the next week, let me show you a couple of things here. The system that brings us the wind on Thursday, it's going to bring some snow to our north through Minneapolis towards Chicago Thursday into Friday. So that's one round of snow. And then perhaps another one, well, not too much over the weekend, another one trying to take shape Monday into Tuesday in some of those same areas. So that could put a coating of snow that may stick around for Christmas for those parts. But there's Christmas Eve, pretty quiet. Christmas Day, yeah, not much happening. You probably got to look a couple days after Christmas. Like you can see here, the 8 to 14 day outlook would be Christmas to New Year's pretty much that week there. And trending a little wetter than average, definitely going to be warmer than average with a lot of 40s, maybe some 50s.
Wow.
Play your cards right. I could put a 60 in the 10-day, but you know, I'll sell that to the highest bidder. We can talk payments afterwards and make the 10-day forecast anything you want. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of 40s and 50s, at least with the real 10-day forecast.
Yeah, all right. Not bad at all.
Not at all.
All right, Jared, you keeping your eye on that crash in Platteview?
Yeah, it's right around 84th in Platteview is where we have that. So still looking at some delays that are showing up. Let's take a look at the latest with this. And it's as you head westbound at that intersection in the approach to it where you're looking at our delays. Let me zoom this out. And I want to show you just for reference, we were mentioning Platteview Senior High. It's right about here. So there is a little distance, but there may be people who use this as a pretty active route through southern Sarpy County to get over into that area. So you want to watch for that. If you are somebody who's going to be heading to that school shortly, that's what you're looking at with the impacts at that intersection of 84th and Platteview. Still looking at some delays that are showing up, and just every time I check this looks worse at 42nd and Drexel. You can see how the oranges are continuing to light up. If I were you, I'd avoid this area just north of Harrison. The way this has continued to look worse and worse through there. 36th is a good option here if you need to go north-south through this area. It's moving along in pretty good shape. 42nd struggling with that crash that's been in place there for a little bit. I also wanted to check in 72nd and Dodge. We still have construction that's happening in the southbound lanes. We've actually held up pretty well so far this morning with that. Maybe people are adjusting off of what they witnessed yesterday with traffic flow here. This is going to be in place through Sunday as you're heading southbound. So keep an eye out for any kind of delays that may end up in place as a result of that. JFK, slow as you're approaching I-80, that backing up to about Q. But aside from that, we're looking at things moving along in decent shape. Some slowdowns there in Gretna as we've picked things up there on Highway 6. But no other major issues besides what I just pointed out.
All right, Jarrett, thank you. Well, the city of Omaha now has a climate action plan. It passed during the final city council meeting of the year. The council put this item at the top of their to-do list. The plan aims to cut greenhouse gas emissions in half by 2035 and 100% by 2050. These goals are in line with many other cities and companies.
Well, making breakfast a little bit sweeter.
A look at the unique prize awaiting the winner of this year's Pop-Tarts Bowl when First Alert 6 streaming returns. Welcome back, everybody. The winner of this year's Pop-Tarts Bowl won't have trouble making breakfast the day after the game.
That's right. Whoever wins the trophy, it's also a working toaster. Check it out. The bowl game features the Miami Hurricanes. Wow, quite the unveiling, right? It features the Miami Hurricanes against the Iowa State Cyclones December 28th in Orlando.
You gotta stick around though because you have to.
There you go.
Hold the video here. Okay, let's see if it pops up.
That can go nicely on your kitchen counter
like it
and not
it's practical
and go with the rest of your decor, right?
Congratulatory and practical.
So I wonder if they give the winner the Pop-Tart flavor of their choice.
They should
Cool.
if they win.
Yeah.
They've been pretty good with their social media too about this whole thing. They've been making it a big deal with the Pop-Tarts.
is, yeah.
I've been following a little bit because Iowa State's playing.
Oh
Yeah.
Well, you remember last year they had the mascot that dove into the toaster, and that was a
yes.
whole social
I
media
do
thing. It's
remember
really fun.
Forgot about that. Favorite Pop-Tarts flavor?
Ooh, brown sugar cinnamon.
That's
Seems to be a popular one. That was classic blueberry.
I'm strawberry.
Okay.
Strawberry? S'mores.
S'mores is
What
a
are
good
you?
one, yeah.
I guess strawberry. I haven't had one in a long time.
We can like the same one.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're going to get ready for our Update in this Day show. You can watch it on streaming or on the air.
All right. Have a great Wednesday.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts with breaking news.
That breaking news this morning, you are taking a live look at the scene in Midtown Omaha. Fire crews were called to this house fire. This is at 41st and Izzard. It was just before 6:30 this morning. We're told this is a vacant house. So far, no injuries to share. We'll be sure to make an update for you once we have more details about this story.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley with an update on traffic this morning with Jarrett Linsford.
And if you use 42nd, you're going to want to be careful if you're getting close to Harrison. We had a crash around Drexel. That's a couple blocks north of there. But look how things are really struggling as you're approaching this in either direction. So note 48th is closed. 36 is a good alternate route if you do need to get north and south to avoid that mess there on 42nd near Drexel. We've also got a crash on 84th and Platteview. You can see westbound traffic is being impacted by that one. If you're heading in the direction of Platteview High there, you want to make sure that you are prepared for possible traffic disruptions as a result of that. We zoom things out. Otherwise, our biggest impact is on the JFK, where we've got backups from about I-80 back to around Q. Watch for those as we continue through the morning. Rusty.
All right, thanks, Jarrett. Out there this morning, it's cold. You got wind chills to factor in here. Numbers are in the teens for the most part out the door. 17 in Omaha, 20 in Plattsmouth when you factor in those wind chills. It's going to be a chilly day as the clouds exit to the southeast, and the wind gust forecast for today will back off into the afternoon. So that's some good news there. Overall, it looks like less wind today. And then overnight tonight, it tries to pick up a little bit. So near 30 at 10 o'clock, 32 at noon. Should get a high today of about 35 the way it looks. But the 10-day forecast shows tomorrow. Pay attention to that. 53 degrees for that afternoon high on Thursday. Normally that happens about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That'll not be the case tomorrow. It's going to be around 1 or 2 o'clock, so you won't get to enjoy that fully, and the winds will kick in. We'll go 26 then on Friday, up into the 30s on Saturday, 41 on Sunday, and it looks pretty good over the Christmas holiday, up into the 40s for the vast majority of us. We're going to be back in about a half hour.